This is a constantly moving haunted house. Every year, it appears out of nowhere somewhere in the world. Legend has it that this haunted house has a total of 6 rooms, but no one has ever been able to walk out of the 6th room. 4 skeptical friends decided to go on an adventure in the haunted house, but the entrance was already packed with adventurers from all over the world. 8 people entered the haunted house's main door at the same time. The door to the first level had a warning written on it: "Beware of the cannibal." Upon entering the room, they were faced with 8 statues. At first, they felt a bit curious, but upon closer observation, they felt uncomfortable because the 8 statues were of the 8 of them. Jack speculated that when they entered the entrance, the prop team must have 3D scanned and printed these statues. Someone tried to take out their phone to take a picture, but they discovered that there was no signal in the room. Everyone was very curious about the statues, except for Ted, who stood very calmly in the corner. Suddenly, the room's lights went out. It wasn't until 2 minutes later that dim lights came back on. Strangely, all the statues had changed. A pair of black hands had torn open their skulls, with only Jack's statue remaining intact. At this point, the door leading to the next room opened, and these statues seemed to serve as a warning to them. They could completely choose to quit the game at this point, and nothing would happen. But curiosity still got the better of most people. Only one girl chose to quit the game. The second room was an enclosed space. Upon entering, a few people did not notice anything unusual. Along with the flickering of the lights, a masked person suddenly appeared in the corner of the wall. He walked up to the group, carefully observing them, and finally stopped beside Lily. He whispered a secret to her, and then walked over to a couple by the door. At this moment, the lights went out again. When the lights came back on, the woman's husband had disappeared, and there was a long trail of blood on the ground. The woman was so frightened that she chose to quit the game. Their first reaction was that these 2 people must be actors hired by the haunted house. At this point, the door to the 3rd level also opened. The aloof Ted finally spoke up, urging everyone to leave immediately while they still had a chance, implying that there was no turning back in the next level. Jack thought he was also an actor and followed him in without hesitation. As Lily's best friend, Ella asked the masked person what he had just said to her. Lily said that the other party had actually called out her nickname, a name that only her deceased father knew. To figure out what was going on, they also walked in. Arriving at the 3rd level, there was a revolving door. Only one person could enter at a time, and each person's room was independent. The group was also forced to split up here. Lily saw a very long corridor. At the end of the corridor, there was an extremely lewd-looking man. She was frightened and fled in a panic, entering the 4th room. Inside, there was a large screen that constantly played a video of her father's suicide. Lily was also plunged into guilt because she was supposed to be home by 10 p.m. that day. If it weren't for her indulgence in play, she might have been able to prevent all of this from happening if she had returned home earlier. But what made her even more curious was how the haunted house knew about these private matters. At this moment, the 5th door opened. There was no exit now. After a moment of hesitation, she pushed open the door to the 5th room and was surprised to find that the layout of the room was exactly the same as her own home. On the sofa sat a statue that looked just like her father.